Hey guys, what's up? It is Katy Candy and the Droker here with our first episode of From Comics to Cinemas podcast. Now, for those of you who don't know who we are, we used to play...
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to play this mobile game called Marvel Contest of Champions, which was basically a lot of our favorite Marvel characters, and they were put together and you would fight the AI. We stepped away from that, but continued to game together, and we also share a love of comics. Droker here, more DC, me, more Marvel. So we're a good mix together. Now, we do stream games on Twitch, which you can check out in the link, or just go to Droker and Katy __ Candy. So, why this podcast? Why not?
Why not?
I mean, we both love the MCU, we both love Marvel comics, we both love DC comics, and most of the DCEU.
We'll get there eventually, I'm sure.
For sure. So, in our inaugural, oh, nope, not even gonna try.
Here we go. Already started.
In our first episode, we are going to be discussing Moon Knight, a little bit about his backstory. We're going to kind of go into the trailer a little bit and see where it could go. Now, Moon Knight is airing on Disney Plus on March 30th on Disney Plus, which I already said. So
right.
let's
make sure you guys know.
Yes, I'm just reiterating the fact.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley. 4 different aspects of the same man who was resurrected by Khonshu to serve his avatar. Created by Doug Moench and artist Don Perlin. Beware the vengeance of Moon Knight.
Man, you got that name. Is that how you say it? Munch? That's a good job.
I tried. Listen,
I
that's
right. That's right.
We all know that words are not my forte. So I'm apologizing ahead of time for any here we go. Mispronunciations that may or may not happen. They're actually guaranteed to happen. So I'm sorry if I do pronounce something wrong. Please spell it phonetically for me in the chat. I would appreciate that. And I'm sure Droker will too.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names, guys. I'm sorry.
So, first too, we should also mention that we have a love of beer.
Yeah.
So we're going to be having a beer every time we do this podcast, kind of saying what it is. I thought I had an IPA. I was going to be adventurous, and turns out I only had Yinglings in my fridge. So I'm going to be having Yingling Traditional Lager for these.
Which there's nothing wrong with.
No, they're the 17,000th time, probably. Somewhere around there.
Sponsorship. No, I'm just kidding. No, Yingling's really good. I'm drinking Leffy. I'm not sure how you say it. It's Belgian. It's a blonde ale. It's really, really good. I've just been on a Belgian kick lately, so that's just kind of my go-to recently. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a good
glass. Yeah,
you can't go wrong with a good Belgian.
Right. Can't go. It's fancy. Feeling fancy? Let's go.
I feel like I've been outclassed.
Trust me, that's never the case.
All right, listen, next time I'll pour it in a fancy glass.
Pinky's out in this podcast only. That's right.
Yes, that's right. Pinky's out. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so before we can actually get into how Moon Knight became Moon Knight, we should actually first discuss his first Marvel appearance, which wasn't in his own solo book run. It was actually in Werewolf by Night, Volume 1, Issue 32 in 1975. Now, the kind of cool thing about this was in this issue, Moon Knight was actually hired in to bring in Jack Russell, who is Werewolf by Night, but ended up realizing that Russell was not necessarily the foe and was more sympathetic towards him than to the people who hired him. So he was really brought in there to be like a one-shot villain / not really villain, anti-hero, whatever, and ended up receiving so much love that he received his own comic book series in 1980.
True. That was the Sienkiewicz era, which was 80 to 84, but really more importantly, 80 to 82 is really
Yes.
the really all the good stuff happened. So, yeah, his artwork pretty much established like the whole noir Moon Knight, like that whole away from the monsters universe in Marvel
Yeah.
and into the whole noir kind of, I want to say Batman-esque, but I don't want to compare him to Batman too much. But that whole noir feel of that artwork is where it really, that's where it was really established. It was really good.
Sinkovich.
Sinkovich, yeah. I know. I told you I'm terrible with names.
So, yeah, and like I think a lot of people make that comparison, which we can talk about later. They make that comparison that Moon Knight is the Marvel Batman. I know before all this, I was very much under that impression, and I couldn't have been farther from the truth. So who exactly is Moon Knight? So before we talk about Moon Knight, we need to talk about Mark Spector. And there's gonna be buckle up, Buttercups, because there's gonna be a lot of names coming through. So, Mark Spector was the rebellious son of an academic Jewish rabbi whose family fled Europe to escape the Holocaust. Now, Mark viewed his father as a coward for not joining the fight against the Nazis. And after that, he became a prolific boxer. He joined up with the U.S. Marines and eventually trained as a commando. And then he later joined the CIA. Then, having become fed up with the CIA, he became an independent contractor, so to speak.
Mm-hmm,
we all know what that is.
We know what that is.
Mercenary.
Oh, yeah.
And he met some of his closest friends that way, such as Frenchie, who later became his pilot and helped to pilot what, Dro?
Oh my God, the Mooncopter. Every Marvel character has a helicopter. I don't get it.
There is. Maybe next episode I'll bring out my Marvel Book of Vehicles, because I have one of those, and it's...
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No.
There's a lot of copters in there.
I love like copters, man. Everybody had a helicopter in the 70s. I don't know what was going on. 80s, 70s, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
No.
So soon after going into the mercenary business, Spector began working for the ruthless terrorist Bushmen. Now, Mark was actually really disturbed by Bushman's savagery and brutal murder of Dr. Peter Al-Ruayn in Egypt. So his conscience was kind of awakened after that, and Spector tried to help the archaeologist's daughter Marlene, who's an important person later on. Well, not really later on, but throughout the Moon Knight run, escape. Now, unhappy by Spector's betrayal, Bushman brutally beat him and left him to suffer in the desert before he died, because he wanted him to suffer. He didn't want him to die instantly. He wanted him to suffer. That's how, like, for those of you who don't know, Bushman he's not a good guy. Like, no. Not even remotely close.
Not at all.
So, after Bushman beat him severely, he was near death. He crawled inside a tomb, and Marlene and her father's men actually laid him to rest near a statue of the Egyptian lunar god of vengeance and justice, Khonshu. Now, it was there that Mark Spector died. And as his body was cooling, Marlene was crying over him. All of a sudden, boom, he returned to life, claiming that he had a vision that Khonshu had brought him back to life to be the Moon Knight of Vengeance.
Yes, which the vengeance thing kind of, again, parallels another dark figure. But this is, look, they're different. Trust us, okay? They're different, all right? And it's funny that, like, his origin story happens to be like almost like a rebirth for him, right?
It is. And I love when because, you know, he wears all white, right, for the majority of his run. So he wears all white, and when asked why he wears all white, he responds to, it's so his enemies can see him coming.
Right,
like,
which I think stems from that childhood thing of him being upset with his dad for not staying and fighting.
For
so
sure.
That's ingrained in his head, man. I'm not running. I'm going to take this hit.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
So do you want to take it away with some of the fun story arcs that we've got going?
So basically, after all that, Moon Knight has a kind of a weird history with getting a couple of reboots, a lot of writers, and a lot of different takes. One thing I want to talk about really quick is his weaponry. There's a couple of different, where's it at? There's a couple different runs where he gets, like, you know, Egyptian themed weapons, but there's some that really stick, like his his, oh my god, what's it called? The truncheon, I believe it's called. The staff that breaks apart and
Mhm.
does like everything. It's like a grapple hook. It's a staff. It's like sticks. Does like everything.
It's like his
That seems to be a constant.
it's like his Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, and we've seen that before, actually. And I was trying to remember where I've seen that before. We saw it in Daredevil. We saw it in Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie. His weapons that he had in those were kind of similar to that. So I was like, oh
Oh
man, we've
yeah.
kind of had that. I kind of forgot about that until I was like, oh, we've seen that before. So
Well,
yeah,
can we be honest? A lot of us forgot that movie existed.
yeah, I really had. I forgot what I was watching that reminded me of it. It was something about Bullseye, and it was like a quick cutaway to like, and this happened, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Colin Farrell was Bullseye. That was terrible. Oh man, and no offense. Look, you probably could act better than I could. I'm just saying. But what I'm trying to get from is in the Serpent War, he actually gets all of the. I think it's a Serpent War. He gets all of the
Yeah.
Egyptian themed weapons, and the sickle darts actually stick with him throughout the continent. So you get, that's where you get like the pretty much hit established like that whole Egyptian theme is through all these reboots, but that pretty much stays the constant. The biggest one I think we need to talk about is where did it go? Oh, my computer's not letting me. My mouse is being weird. It's the Fist of Khonshu storyline. And it's the one that's not really popular because I guess he had like the gold Ankh armor and he had like the gold bracelets and like the gold anklets and I guess it was like almost like disco era Moon Knight for like a thing. But it's still important. It's still a really important arc. So, you know, it's just I'm trying to find it. I don't have it in my notes anymore. I think it's gone.
Oh,
where did it go?
It's in
this is embarrassing.
It's in the It's in our document in our chat.
But why is it not in my notes? That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's really weird. Where the heck did my notes go? They just all disappeared.
I think the puppy deleted them.
Yeah, this is All right. So anyway, overall, what Spectre decides, what happens is Spectre decides to retire as Moon Knight with pressure from Marlene. All right, Marlene's been another constant as well as his weapons, right? So we see Marlene in pretty much every story arc. She preferred Stephen Grant, one of the personas, right? She pretty much was like, I like you, but more so that guy. So he was like, all right, you know what? No more Moon Knight. I'm going to retire. We're going to be Stephen Grant. And I say we because, well, he's Moon Knight and he doesn't just have one personality. So on his pilgrimage, he's, you know, he retires and everything, but again, he has visions and he has nightmares and he's haunted and he keeps having like these visions of Khonshu and he's convinced himself at this point that Khonshu, it didn't happen. It was all a dream. Yeah. You know, it was just, he buried it. But eventually he goes back on another pilgrimage, goes back to find the Ankh that he sold and he gave up and everything like that. And he met these three priests who, you know, basically were like, hey man, this thing's going to get sold. You need to come, you know, help us get this all wrapped up and come everything back. Well, it's trying to be taken over and destroyed by the avatar of Anubis, which is Ahmad Aziz, who intends to perform a ritual to basically just destroy. And Khonshu's like, my guy, we can't have that. We can't have you destroying this Ankh. I kind of need you to not do that. And, well, Mark gets all these crazy supernatural powers, and this is where we actually start to see and we get established that the moon can control his strength, essentially. Like when it's under a full moon, he can lift like 2 tons or something like that.
Yeah, he's most powerful under the full moon. So that's which, you know, kind of you would expect to make sense.
From somebody especially called Moon Knight, right? Yeah. And Khonshu being who Khonshu is, which is like the god of the moon. So basically, he goes out there, gets the idol, he foils the plot. Aziz ends up dying. There's like this crazy event that happens after he like stops everything happening. Like the temple falls on him and crushes him.
So like this crazy like storm rolls in all of a sudden, and it completely levels the tomb on top of Aziz, like crushing him. So it's kind of like, and then you're kind of like, was that you, or was that what happened here?
You're like, what's going on here? And so, but it's a really important run because it really establishes that like Moon Knight can have powers, and those powers have basically waxed and waned like the moon throughout his story arcs, and depending on who's writing him and what year it was, he was either insanely strong or he was just a dude in a suit. So, but that's really important because of what's going on currently, and I want to talk about what's going on currently in Moon Knight because I feel like it's important to talk about where he's coming from and where he's going in the written material before we get into the trailer. So, if you're curious about what he's doing now, basically, he's running a hero for hire business. All right. And he's Mr. Knight. And now if you guys don't know who Mr. Knight is, Mr. Knight's actually the like really debonair looking Moon Knight where he's got like the white mask, the white gloves, the suit, the vest, the pants, the shoes. He looks
He's
really like
he's pretty fly looking.
he looks pretty good.
Yeah,
He looks like really good.
I mean, like he's what like you turn and look at him and be like, "Yes, sir, you can have whatever table you want at whatever restaurant you want." Right? Like it's
Exactly.
that's a
And
really
he's kind of
bad
got this
reference, but
glow
yes.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm really enjoying it. And he's running like a hero for hire, which we've seen before in like Luke Cage, the Netflix series and stuff
Iron
like that.
Fist.
So I think it's cool that he's running. I think he's just chilling as Mr. Knight, running hero for hire business. And it kind of cuts to he's saving this like van of vampires, and which Moon Knight deals a lot with. If you guys don't know, it's very very tied into the Werewolf by Night, Blade, vampire, very like mystic arts kind of side of Marvel.
Yeah, well, and that has a lot to do with too, which we're not going to go into too much really at all today. Is the whole Midnight Suns. So
Correct. Yeah, and then there's another one too. I think it's like Midnight. No, something. I don't know. Something nights where he was in another group that I was reading about, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure somebody will say in the comments or will correct me. Um, but yeah, so we catch up with him. He's running this hero for hire business. He's basically adopted this vampire that he saved. She just got turned. She hasn't got any bloodlust yet. She hasn't like had any taste for like actual human blood. So he's like, all right, cool. Like, I kind of need somebody to run the office with me. I'm doing this hero for hire thing. Like, let's go. You're my like sidekick, kind of buddy cop comedy thing starting to form. And she's super sassy and hilarious, but it's important because we'll talk about that later. So we'll talk about why that's important later. So anyway, Moon Knight comes across this guy, 8-Ball, who's a villain, who's like a C-list villain, I guess. He'd be kind of like, I guess, Polka Dot Man in the DC universe, something like that. I've never really heard of him, but apparently he's like nobody. What's important because, well, this doctor, this yoked doctor is beating the ever-living crap out of this this villain because he tried to like rob the hospital for painkillers. And Moon Knight's like, yo, you good? He's like, yeah, I got this. And he's like, well, like, you good? You're beating the crap out of this guy. And he's like, yeah, I know who you are, by the way. By the way, guys, I'm super paraphrasing. He's like, I know who you are. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, you're the Fist of Khonshu. And Moon Knight's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I know who you are. I know where you came from. Like, I serve Khonshu too, and there's only one above me, and it ain't you. So you like right away, you're kind of like, who the heck is this guy? Like, how does he know? He knows too much.
it's like, wait. I'm not above you? Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, slow your roll.
Literally, I'm the high priestess. I'm the Fist of Khonshu. And he's like, no, you're not. Only Khonshu's above me. So you're like, immediately you're kind of taken back. So cut away to a couple scenes later. You're back in the office. They got a back and forth report going on between the vampire lady and Moon Knight, and they're talking crap to each other. It's hilarious. This guy busts in the door, and you're like, okay, what's next in the story? So he's being chased by a bunch of elderly folks, and I mean like 70, 80-year-olds wielding like knives and like guns and canes and crap. And so you're like, okay. And Moon Knight's, well, I can't physically fight these old people because I'll kill them. He's like, like a one punch to the skull and they're dust. Like, that's it. So he's trying to figure out what's going on through like running and fighting and everything. He ends up in this apartment building, and he finds out that this like janitor, I think his name is Holly. I'm like jumping ahead here. Yeah, I think it's Holly. And turns out that his power is he has like pheromones similar to I forget his name from Jessica Jones, Mr. Purple, the whispering guy.
Oh, the Purple Man.
Yeah, Purple Man. He has the same thing, but it's in his sweat, and you have to ingest his sweat for him to like have control over you.
Ew.
Really gross, but he put his sweat in the water supply, and it was for the purpose. Yeah,
Ew?
and so all the elderly people drink his sweat.
Okay, this forever solidifies me buying bottled water forever now.
Crazy thing. You're like, okay. So he's like,
What?
he wants to take control of Moon Knight. And he's like, okay, so Moon Knight doesn't even fight him. He's like, I can't fight these old people. So he's like, all right. He's like, give me your sweat. Hands him the crescent dart. Guy puts his sweat on the dart. Moon Knight licks it. And then boom, he's like sucked into Moon Knight's mind, right? Because like it's a whole mind control thing. Well, we find out when you cut to, he's got his 3 other personalities locked away in like sarcophaguses. And there's an empty one waiting for the janitor that just arrived. He throws him in the sarcophagus, like mummy wraps him mentally, throws him in the sarcophagus, shuts the lid. And then like it just cuts to where like Moon Knight's walking away and the janitor's a vegetable on the ground just drooling. And he's got like nothing in his eyes. He's just white. Yeah, I don't know if he's always had that power, but that scares me, and I'm so intrigued by this now. Like you've got me,
That's
Jed McKay, you've got me.
That's pretty wild. That's some heavy like almost like Legion-esque stuff.
Really cerebral, and like at first you're kind of like, whatever, and then like it sets in. You're like, that dude just trapped another dude's mind in his own mind with the other personalities he already has control of. What? So not only do we get revealed that he does have powers in this new story arc, he's a little unhinged. And what happened to the other personalities? How did he get them? Why are they like shoved away? What's going on? Why? And like, are they going to come out later? I'm really curious.
What happens if they do come out?
Oh, they always, apparently, always. So
yeah, when they come out, because
when they come out,
that's
is
going to be a
basically
big when.
Yeah, and so now it comes out later that doctor that was beating the crap out of 8-Ball is actually the other fist of Khonshu. He's called Hunter's Moon, so he's basically the other high priestess servant of Khonshu. He's really mad at Moon Knight because Moon Knight apparently is not following the laid path. Now, this reminds me of Spawn. When Spawn gets his powers, he's supposed to like lead the legions of hell. And he's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Later, I'm taking these powers and I'm doing what I want.
Yeah.
Well,
Later,
apparently that's kind of what
nerds.
happened here. I'm not doing that, fam. I'm good. Well, that kind of happened here, but it happened because of Mark's different personalities. When he donned the cowl for the first time as Moon Knight, he was actually supposed to get all of that information from the previous Moon Knights and Khonshu and everything. And yeah, that never happened. So he never got like, he's the protector of the night, but like he never got, I guess, the whole shebang. He never got it all. He got like 75% of it. He never got the other 15%. So Hunter's Moon is just like severely confused. Like, what are you doing running around with a vampire? Vampires are night hunters. We are the protectors of the night. What? And he's like trying to explain, like, no, she doesn't have bloodlust. And it's just this whole really cool dichotomy and this really like big brother, kind of little brother situation that kind of starts to form. I'm not going to go into too much more. It's currently running. It's on issue 9, which comes out in March, which as of this date is like more than a month away, or about a month away.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy.
It sounds so good though.
It's interesting as all heck. It's got me. The whole mental thing of it has really got me. The artwork is phenomenal, as per usual, with dark stuff like this. But I think we're going to see Blade eventually, and I think we may get some, like, here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for Mr. Knight Blade buddy cop comedy in the series. Like, just bouncing off each other. That's what I'm hoping for.
How epic would that be?
It would be great, but because of this, now I'm sucked into Katy Candy's favorite part of the Marvel Universe, the vampire part, because now I have to know more.
Yes.
I have to know more. Why are the vampires there? What's the whole thing? Why are they trying to turn people into more vampires? Gotta know, man. Questions need answers.
That could definitely be a topic for a show, because like a lot of people kind of forget, and this is kind of off tangent here, but like a lot of people forget that Dracula's in the Marvel universe, and like, I mean, he's you know, he's not the OG Daddy Vamp, right? There's a different one than him, but a lot of people always forget that he's in the Marvel universe. They always think like, you know.
And he's referenced a lot, especially in the new Marvel, the MCU. We're starting to see the whole Blade thing unfold, like with the end of Eternals and everything, with the Ebon Blade,
the Ebony Blade.
Ebony Blade, thank you. So yeah, it's interesting to get into. I like this part of DC universe. I like Constantine. I like Nightmare Nurse. I like Deadman. So this is right up my alley, man. This is really cool that we got to talk about this. Yeah, and it kind of got me into a new character.
And it's really cool because that cutscene in Eternals with, you know, Mahershala Ali as Blade asking Dane, "Are you ready for that? Do you think you're ready for that?" It's not like, "Do you think you're ready for that?" It's like, "Do you know the cost of the Ebony Blade?"
Exactly.
Because the Ebony Blade is...
It costs.
It basically, for those of you who don't know, the Ebony Blade basically causes anyone who wields it to go on a mass murder spree. And not in the good... Not that there's any good murder spree.
I was going to say.
But like...
Is there really a good one?
There's really not. But like, this is like a series. Like, you're kind of just like... Oh, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. But those two arcs in particular, I think, are very important, especially going into
Hmm.
the trailer, because well, I don't think so much the new story arc is really going to be relevant at all in the show. Maybe not until later seasons, depending on how long the show
Yeah,
goes. This is all speculation.
I agree. I think it'll be potentially later on, or maybe
Yeah,
in some movie form, like later
right.
on down the road, especially like the way things are headed with Doctor Strange, and they're getting more into the dark arts and that sort of thing. So that has the potential to
Yeah.
be probably later on down the road.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So
I'm trying. I think that's it for the arcs. Yeah, I think that's all. That was all we needed to talk about for those. Yeah.
yeah, because those are two, I think, like really good arcs where, like, if people would want to read them, those are kind
Yeah.
of good ones to get into, to get at least kind of a little bit of a backstory on Moon Knight and where he is currently, and then kind of jump into the show to see where the show is headed, because the trailer for the Moon Knight series actually had a lot going on in it for like the 2
It was
minutes
a lot.
that it played, but
It was
like
a lot.
there was a lot going
It was a
into
lot.
it, because like most of the story, or most of the trailer, we see him as Stephen Grant, who here isn't portrayed really as like the billionaire playboy type guy.
No. Yeah.
He's very unsure of himself, which is not like the Stephen that we're accustomed to in the
Yeah. He's not
comics.
the confident millionaire. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
kind of like, I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. He's kind of like a loser.
He kind of is. He's like kind of meek too. Because he's like when he's put on his name tag going to work. I think he's going to work in the trailer. I'm not sure. He could be playing a role, but he's very meek. It seems like very
Yeah,
like
yeah,
look at his shoes, kind of like self esteem kind of problems. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird seeing him like that.
yeah. And he's always constantly like, I am Steve. Like when his boss calls him Stevie, and he's like Steven. Like he's
Yeah.
carrying around the name tag and stuff. But like it's kind of cool that you see he goes to bed in one article of clothing and wakes up in another.
That trailer had me. Listen, I've watched it. I don't even know how many times now, and I still find new stuff to look at.
It's
It's insane.
it's crazy, and so like for those of you who don't know, Moon Knight's primary personality is Mark Spector for the majority of the time. That's his primary personality, except when he put Mark and Jake away and Steven emerged for Marlene.
Hmm.
So, like, why are we seeing more of Steven? Are they going to release another trailer where we're going to see more of Mark? Or
Right.
is this actually tied into the Fist of Khonshu story arc? Right?
Exactly.
Is it kind of tied? Like, the way that trailer plays out, it's more kind of along those lines because of everything that's going on. Now, maybe he won't have those crazy mystical powers or anything, but like it seems to be paralleling, to me at least, the Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood's Moon Knight run, where he's in an asylum.
Yes.
And he's supposedly cured of his dissociative identity disorder, which used to be known as multiple personality disorder, which is what he has or may
Right.
not have. We'll
It's
talk
very
about
ambiguous, actually. Yeah.
yeah, and there's some debate which we could talk about in a minute. But in his reality, he's under the impression that actually Khonshu is holding him hostage to break him down and take over his body. Now, in the asylum, the orderlies, they look human until Moon Knight puts his mask on, and then they turn into jackals. Now, in the trailer, we see him plagued by nightmares, and then when he is in the full suit, we see him beating on this beast, which we're going to talk about in a minute, because a lot of people think it's one thing, and I don't think it's that.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think it is either. I think it has a lot to do with this. So, and then, he's plagued by these nightmares. He finds links to his prime identity Mark with the cell phone, where the lady Layla calls him. Now,
Right. Yeah.
there's been a lot of speculation with who Layla is. Is Layla actually Marlene? They just changed her name. Is it the mutant butterfly? Which I don't think it's the mutant butterfly. I think that would be a stretch.
Yeah.
I think that would.
be a weird time to introduce that mutant. I just feel like it'd be like out of place.
It would be really out of place unless it was like just that phone call.
True.
But again, like Butterfly was basically created because of House of M, so it was like Scarlet Witch's She was like Scarlet Witch's failsafe in House of M.
Could make sense overall if they do House of M inspiration for the future of MCU, but we don't know that.
We don't know yet. But hey, that could be where the multiverse of madness is headed.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know, right? So, because we haven't really seen too much on that movie, and I digress. So, I mean, with all that being said, though, I think it's going to be maybe the second to last episode that we actually see him in the full Moon Knight attire. I think it'll probably be the second.
I think that long, huh?
I think it's going to be that long. Well, it's not a very long series, I don't think.
Oh, okay, that was my next question. I was like, how long is it? Because if it's like an eight-part series, I could see that.
Yeah, I think it's
which they kind of been sticking to, right?
Yeah, like 6 to 8,
like sub 10. Yeah.
So that's why I think it's going to be probably like the last episode that we actually see him in the suit.
I can see that now.
Yeah. So. Now, of course, we saw the thing with the flip phone, and we kind of already talked about that. But if that Layla character is Marlene, that's kind of cool. But I don't really necessarily know how I feel about them changing her name. Like, what was the point of changing the name? Unless there was something, maybe with some rights or something I don't know about. But
yeah, I mean, since sometimes they do some interesting stuff with some character name changes and some origins. I mean, look at Mandarin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like case in like that's. I mean, they did redeem him in Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah.
Shang-Chi or what?
When they were like, that's not the Mandarin.
Yeah.
This is the Mandarin.
And then what was the other guy's? I forget his name. Was Iron Man? The same movie. He glowed and he turned orange and he looked all debonair and he was like a nerd before. Oh my god, I can't remember his name.
Oh.
He was like the actual villain of that movie. I never knew about him before that movie is what I was trying to say. Like I felt like I was like, who's this guy? Okay. Right.
I can't think of his name.
It was from the project. I forget his name.
Aldrich?
That's the guy. Yeah, Aldrich Killian.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, him. I didn't know who he was. So I was like, that movie for me was like, I was like, who are these guys? But I knew who the Mandarin was, but yeah, that wasn't the Mandarin that I knew. You never know.
You never know. So, but and I do want to point out too that they did in the Hawkeye show make reference to one of Moon Knight's kind of lovers. They made reference to Tigra.
Yeah, sorry, I was like, ooh, yeah, he had a thing with Tigra.
He had a thing with Tigra, and
go Moon Knight.
I know, right? And rawr. Literally.
Could be far worse. That's all I'm saying. Like, not bad.
So that's kind of cool. Little Easter eggs tying in together, sort of.
Yeah, that was when he was that was another arc I was going to talk. That was a West Coast Avenger, the Silver something arc where he goes out west and Hawkeye actually makes his weapons. I think during that arc, and yeah, he's love interest with Tigra, and that
ended badly.
Yeah, that did not end well at all because is that the one where he gets the multiple? His personality split into Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Captain America? Where he's directing the movie. Am I thinking of another one? I think you're thinking of another one. Yeah. I don't think it was that one. Okay. But there's one with
There is
an arc where he does that, by the way.
Moon Knight has had some crazy arcs. The one with Deadpool is fantastic.
Oh my god. So Deadpool and Moon Knight meet each other? And then they hear each other's voices and they start arguing with their own voices. And then they argue with each other because they think they're like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? It's one of the greatest panels I've ever seen. It's hilarious.
It's so good. So
I hope we see that, like end cut scene or something.
How great would that be for them to introduce Deadpool to the MCU by Moon Knight? Right?
Oh, that's a good call.
Like,
yeah, I'd be down for that. I would totally be down for that.
Mm-hmm. Like, how great would that be to see Deadpool introduced into the MCU through Moon Knight?
Oh man, especially with that interaction.
It's just that interaction. It's just that panel.
I would love it. I would eat that up, man. Because they're sorry. It's just there's learning about Moon Knight's been fun, guys. It's been a blast, honestly.
It's crazy. He's a wild ride.
Yeah.
Phrasing? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially with Tigra. Hello. Hello. That's not normal. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Moving on. Um.
Uh, Definitely moving on. So let's talk about the villain of the trailer,
Yeah. Back to
right?
the trailer.
Because all right, listen. So if you have the subtitles on, the villain's name, Ethan Hawke's character, is Arthur Harrow, and this is a huge deep cut from the comics, and like Arthur Harrow is like this mad scientist villain, but he's not really like a huge threat, right? So you're kind of like, okay.
What? Yeah, he was in like I think one issue, one comic back in the day.
one.
That was it. That was it.
So he was basically a one and done. I was gonna say something else, but I'm going to refrain. I'm just gonna take a drink and refrain.
Oh my. Yeah, but he's not, again, another name I had to look up because I didn't recognize him a lot. I had no clue.
One night stand. Yes. So, okay. So who is he then? Well, so we see him, this leader of this cult, and he basically approaches, I think it's Mark at that time, or Steven, or maybe it's Jake. I'm not totally sure by the trailer.
Yeah.
It's one of the three. And says that he senses chaos within him. So this guy can clearly see that there's something going on inside of Mark or Jake or Steven.
Whoever he is at that moment, yeah.
Steven said, I think it's Steven.
I think it might be.
I think it's Steven. There's something going on inside him, and there's chaos inside him. And so the fact that he's got this like huge cult following, and he can kind of sense the chaos within Steven, means that I think he's the Sun King, who is the avatar of the sun god Ra. And the sun god Ra is always at odds with Khonshu. They're always at odds, right? It's night and day. And you see a lot of statues of Ra in the Egyptian scenes. So it's kind of making me think that way, because I mean, he's a leader of a cult, and in the comics, the Sun King amassed this huge number of followers. They all assembled on St. Palamin Island, which he renamed Isla Ra. Mm-hmm. So it would just make more sense for Arthur Harrow to be the Sun King than kind of just like this minor mad scientist villain. It just wouldn't make any sense to go that like deep cut and that obscure for this. And then that's why I think the Sun King is a more safe assumption, so to speak.
I didn't agree at first, but now that we've talked about it multiple times now, I'm tending to agree more with you. I was thinking it was just ripped out of the fish to Khonshu. I thought he was going to be like the avatar of Anubis kind of thing, or he was going to be Aziz. But after like listening to like and going back and watching it, and then after what you said, I was like, yeah, no, I think she might be right. I'm starting to tend to agree with that. I think it might be Ra, or at least associated with Ra in some way.
Or
there's a lot of that imagery in the trailer.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff with Anubis too. So who's to say that, which I think Ra uses Anubis at some points.
Right. Yeah. Which same thing basically, but I think Ra would be more to the point for the TV show. Yeah.
So speaking of Anubis and jackals, let's talk about that beast that Moon Knight's fighting in the bathroom scene, which he is just laying into him.
Yo, it's brutal. It is along the lines of just seeing a man just break, and that's what it is. I can't wait. I'm sorry, but yeah, he's beating the crap out of this thing, whatever it is.
He really is.
What's the controversy? What do people think it is?
Listen, I know a lot of people are saying it's Werewolf by Night, and I don't think it's Werewolf by Night.
I don't think it's Werewolf by Night. I don't think he's beating the crap out of Werewolf by Night in the bathroom. I'm sorry. I don't see that happening.
And we all know Werewolf by Night is coming to Disney Plus on a Halloween special. So I forget the actor's name, but he's already been cast as Jack Russell. But I don't think they're going to bring in Werewolf by Night here. So,
which, side note, great name for a man who turns into a dog, by the way. Jack Russell, come on. How on the nose can you be?
I see what you did there.
Nah. But yeah, I don't think it's him.
Mm-mm.
I think it's like an avatar or a minion or
Yeah.
something or like a demon or
Hmm.
something. They'll explain it, but I don't think it's werewolf.
Yeah, I think it's like a jackal demon thing, basically working for Anubis
I
or
don't think he'd have
Ra.
that easy of a time beating up werewolf like that. Honestly, like I don't know,
No,
because he's a tough character, man. He's not just like werewolf by night. Like the dude is like he's got. We'll talk about. I'm sure we'll
we'll
reach that
definitely,
point, but
yeah.
like he is not a normal werewolf. Anyway,
Halloween special.
oh, not a bad idea.
Mm.
I like it.
So yeah, that's why I don't see it being werewolf by night. But I think it's a minion of some sort, whether it be of Anubis or Ra or something like that.
Khonshu something to keep maybe he keep him in line. We
or
don't know yet.
or
But
Khonshu to get him to finally become Moon Knight.
Moon Knight,
Yeah,
right?
because
Transform, so to speak.
yeah, when Moon Knight kind of like retires, like he steps back a couple times, and every time he
Mhm.
steps back, Khonshu just comes at him with
Like, what are you doing,
test
my dude?
after test after test to get him to keep being Moon Knight and keep being basically the vengeance of the moon.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's four. What are they? So yeah, he's talked about as the traveler, the pathfinder, the embracer, and then the defender of those who travel at night.
Hmm.
Which is that last part is really what really drives the whole Moon Knight thing. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and it's just I don't know. Here's what I hope we see, because I really like this about a couple of the other Marvel series. I hope we see some really good fight scenes,
I'm sure we
because
will.
Mark Spector is supposed to be
He's a master assassin, pretty
Batman
much.
level, like yeah, master assassin, hand to hand combat dude. Just knows pretty much everything, like Muay Thai, ninjutsu, savate, judo, karate, escrima, kung fu, boxing. I mean, it's just I want to see some really cool fight scenes.
I mean,
I think
I am.
if that one scene of him beating the crap out of that thing is any indication, I think we are gonna get him.
I think we're definitely gonna see some really good fight scenes, and the fight scenes in Shang-Chi were great. I thought those
So
were they were
so good,
beautiful. They were beautiful. So
so good.
I mean, what I want to see from Moon Knight is like some nitty gritty John Wick style fight scenes. That's kind of what I want to see, like Deadpool esque, with more hand to hand combat and stuff. So that's what I'm looking for with the fight scenes in Moon Knight.
I am too. I'm really I hope they emphasize the not blocking, not moving thing, and just eating hits, because I mean it's like his signature fighting style. It's his thing, man. He just doesn't run. He doesn't back down. He
No,
doesn't move. He doesn't block. He gets. It's like almost like the pain makes him stronger. Almost like which it doesn't. He's not like Black Panther's suit or anything like that. But it's like it's his mentality is like, yeah, I don't care. I can take it. The dude, he has like almost supernatural like resistance to like torture and
hmm,
pain. That it's been described in like a multiple story arcs. He could just take
he
it.
just takes it. Yeah, it's wild.
Nah,
Speaking of fight scenes, my favorite one, and I'm
what's
sure
that?
this is one of yours too, is when he fights Taskmaster. Because
Oh, good, so good.
listen, you know how he beat Taskmaster? He flew a plane into his office. Because who's gonna do that?
Can't really prepare for that if you don't know that's coming. That's not a fighting style. That's just lunacy.
That's
And that's why he's
exactly
great.
that's lunacy. That's how do you how are you supposed to predict someone flying a plane into your office? You don't,
Yeah, I think.
or at
Yeah,
you.
it's just, there's. I mean, he quoted as saying that he doesn't like copying Moon Knight's style because he would rather take the punch and
Hmm.
then block it. He's like, I don't fight like that, my guy. And Moon Knight's like, I do. like, like, I don't care how you fight. This is how I fight. And it reminds me of when Spawn and Batman had the crossover, and like Spawn goes into like Moon Knight's Spawn goes into Batman's head. There I go. I just got it mixed up. And he comes out and he's like, dude, you're kind of messed up. And like that's kind of like after Taskmaster fights Moon Knight, he's like, dude, you're kind of messed up. Why are you taking hits like that? Like what's going on? And it's just a really cool interaction because it kind of establishes that again, like he can fight, he knows how to block, and he just doesn't. He don't care. He just doesn't care.
It's
Which
it's
I love that about him. I think that
it's great. Like
it's such a cool feature of a character.
I I was I didn't really know too much about Moon Knight going in, except from things from like Midnight Suns and a little bit of this and a little bit of that I picked up in various crossover events. So to actually like dig deep into his character and his story and find out everything about him is just wild.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like, and like we said earlier, the comparison really, like, as a kid, and like even in middle school and high school, I had really heard like, hey, he's basically Marvel's Batman.
Yeah.
You'd love him. And I'm like, I already got Batman. I don't need another one. I'm not going to read about him. Now that I'm reading about him, I'm like, man, I really missed out, because he's no. It literally ends at his personality as Steven, because he's a millionaire and he can afford to buy toys, and his costume, and that's really, and like the fighting thing, like that's beyond that, dude. He's Egyptian, extremely Egyptian oriented. He's basically a high priest.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce is not a high priest. Bruce is just a dude. No, he's got no god in his corner. So like the fact that he's got this guy, and then he's got the street. Who's the cab driver personality?
Jake Lockley.
Jake. That's cool. That to me, that's really cool, because that's like his street intel. That's where he gets all like, what's the word on the street? And he's got Steve, which is like his debonair millionaire, which he uses to infiltrate like the white collar area of crime. And then who's the other guy? I have it written down.
Mark.
And then then Mr. Knight, the guy that I
Mr.
like.
Knight, yeah.
We're like, it's kind of like Spectre, Moon Knight, and Steve all like rolled into like one character, where he's still got the debonair aspect of it, but he's still Mark Spectre with the craziness, and the Moon Knight with the powers. So I don't know. It was really fun to learn about him, and I feel like comparing him to Batman just doesn't do him justice.
It really doesn't.
He's so much more deep. And I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm not trying to take anything away from Batman, but like, this was a rabbit hole I did not expect to go down. And it was fun. It was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this one was definitely fun to research. And I do gotta say, one last thing about this trailer is, did anyone else notice the flaming skull sticker in the elevator?
I didn't until she pointed it out.
There's a flaming skull sticker in the elevator scene when he's like, I lost my contact, when Khonshu's coming at him, and the old lady's like,
clearly you didn't lose your contact.
I hope you find it.
I meant to ask you, do you think that old lady is Khonshu, and do you think we'll see her maybe in the background of some scenes, like kind of like taunting him or like overlooking him?
Oh, for sure.
Or do you think that was just some random lady that he just perceived as Khonshu?
There's nothing random when it comes to Khonshu.
That's kind of what that's kind of how I felt. So
There's nothing random when it comes to Khonshu. So for me, don't trust the old lady.
That's what I'm saying. Don't. And again, like the new run, after reading the new run, I'm like, I'm not trusting any old people. But yeah, it was this flaming skull. I didn't catch that. I had to go back and like pause it at the right moment. And I was like, I'll be damned. There it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
So that got me super excited.
Which Ghost Rider do you think we're going to get?
Why can't we have both? Oh, and I say both. Look, there are more than just two Ghost Riders.
Right, the main ones. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I say why not have both? Robbie Reyes and Johnny. Why not? Like, we can totally have... Listen, if anyone says Nick Cage, get out. Get out.
Oh, no. I mean, you never know. They could bring him back.
I mean, multiverse of madness.
Exactly. You never know. I hope we do. I hope we get at least a cameo, maybe season 2.
I would love a cameo, and honestly, I would love to have both at the same time. And there was a debate. Norman Reedus and oh my god, I can't think of his name, who played Robbie Reyes in the Shield series. They were which Ghost Rider would you rather have? And I was like, both. Hello?
Dude,
like, Norman Reedus would actually make a fantastic Ghost Rider. I think he would do really well. He would crush it. Yeah. So
he would crush it.
Why not? Why not?
Maybe we could. Maybe they go a little bit into the throne of hell where Mephisto was. He leaves, and then Johnny takes over, and then you have Reyes still on Earth, and as the Avatar or the Vengeance. Again, guys, not a huge Marvel guy, so if I mispronounce or if I misspeak, just go ahead and just roast me in the chat. It's fine.
We'll just, we'll just blame Mephisto. It's back to WandaVision. It's Mephisto.
Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that they could go this route, because Moon Knight is involved again in that universe, which is I think is really cool, because I didn't know that about Moon Knight again until after researching him. I was like, oh, he's involved in like the Midnight Suns. He's involved in like kind of this like darker aspect of Marvel. That's dope. I'm here for it.
Yeah, he's a really cool character, and I'm really glad we got to do this to like look into him some more, and I can't wait to see how the show goes, what direction the show goes, like, that sort of thing. And because they already confirmed that Blade is making an appearance.
Correct. That's why I was correct.
Yeah. In the Moon Knight series. So that makes me Supergirl, because super happy.
Makes you Supergirl.
Yes.
Yes.
No. I'm kind of a Blade stan. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a Blade simp. Like,
you don't say.
It's okay. Like, I would leave the guy I'm seeing right now. I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I would not.
You heard it here first.
I would not.
No, but it's a cool universe, and I can't wait to see it unfold. I was very much against the new Blade because I'm a huge Wesley Snipes fan, and I didn't want to accept the fact that it was going to move on without him. I'm really that, like, old curmudgeon. I'm like, he's the Earth. Don't touch my Blade. But now I'm kind of like, you can touch all the Blade, because I'm ready for this. Like, we're watching Moon Knight and, like, reading what I'm doing the research. They could do so much with this story and make it so rad.
Oh yeah.
And I hope they do. I really hope they don't botch this. I don't think they will. I think the issue will be the violence, where people want it like ultra. Oh, we didn't talk about how violent Moon Knight can get.
Oh yeah, we should probably. Yeah, because I have a feeling.
Do you think it might happen?
I don't think it will.
No,
not on Disney Plus.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think they. And if they did, it would be off camera. You wouldn't even really see it.
No. Although in the trailer, that guy falling out of the truck clearly has a bullet hole in his head.
Yeah, he definitely got ran over by those cars afterwards. I don't care. There's no way those cars avoided him. That dude was toast. I'm sorry. He was unalived real quick.
So, I don't think we'll quite see in the series how violent Moon Knight can actually be. If it was on Hulu, I would be like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that.
But the fact that it's on Disney Plus makes me kind of hesitant to think that it'll be Deadpool level violence.
Yeah, because he can go anywhere from Punisher to some really crazy stuff from what I've seen. So
yeah.
He can get pretty violent.
Which I'm ready to if they ever do the Punisher and Moon Knight spinoff, where they go and are tracking down that was it a drug lord's daughter? I can't remember right off the top of my head whose daughter it was.
Wait, was that with them to Mexico? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah, I did read a little bit about that. That's really funny. Yeah, I was reading that story. I was like, that'd be pretty cool. I'd watch that. Mm-hmm. And have Frank Castle deal with Moon Knight's personalities. Oh my god. That would be fantastic.
It'd be so good.
That would be great, actually.
But I can't wait. It looks the just from that trailer alone gets me really excited, because they definitely put. If you knew what you were looking for, there was definitely a lot of detail in that trailer.
Yeah, there was.
Mm-hmm. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really am. Really stoked to see what unfolds and what they do with Wanda. And now, like I said, we've gone from, like we were talking offline or in our streams as well. We've seen the science aspect of the Marvel Universe with Ultron and that whole Avengers arc right there. Then we went into the whole cosmic aspect with Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor and Thanos, and the whole war that happened was. And now we're kind of going into like the mystical. Wanda's cracked and she's got her crazy powers now, and we got. Agatha's now introduced, whatever her name is.
Yeah, Agatha Harkness.
Yeah, and then we got the what if happened with the crazy, super powerful Doctor Supreme Cthulhu guy.
If you've seen that trailer, I'm pretty sure that Doctor Strange is in the Doctor Strange of Multiverse of Madness trailer.
Yeah, I think he is too, which we should talk about. But yeah, I agree. And I think he's going to be integral to putting away the next big baddie. If it is who I think it is, I think he's going to be super important. But yeah, so we're getting this super like heavy mystical side next, and they're kind of building up we touched on Midnight Suns, but topic for another day. But if we get that as well, I'm here for it. I'm all for it. I'm ready for it.
You know, I'm already. I am already checked into Midnight Suns, and it's not here. And I'm like, listen, all the stars are aligning.
Yeah, Once you start doing some research, you're like, oh, why this must be a reason they're introducing these characters. So I hope they do.
I gotta say, when I saw the post credit scene for Eternals, and as soon as that voice hit, I was like, "That's Blade," and I lost my mind.
Yeah, and I was talking with Verge, and I think just recently, which Verge is a comic book collector in our communities. We were just talking about how they kind of, I don't want to say retconned, but they made the Ebony Blade more powerful on par with like Mjolnir, I guess, in mainstream continuity. So I got to get caught up on that crap because that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's the Ebony Blade now is it's pretty wild. It's dope, but not in a good way.
In the most terrifying way.
Yes.
Hey, I mean, sometimes destruction can be awesome in the fact that it inspires awe. I mean, look at nuclear bombs. Terrible destruction. Really pretty from far away. You know? Like, that's a terrible comparison.
That was a terrible comparison. As someone who's worked in the radiation,
who gave me a microphone?
As someone who's worked in the radiation field, just no.
Well, just that doesn't
I'm gonna edit that
afterwards. Out. It's pretty lights, colors,
and drink.
But yeah, it was cool, man. This was fun. This was oh yeah. So just one more thing, real quick, on what was what is debated upon in the community or in the Moon Knight community.
Oh yes,
because he actually has the DID.
This is important because this could be. I want to see how Disney handles this.
Yeah, they could. There's a couple ways because but depending on the writer, he does have DID, and actually it stemmed from childhood, and that's when his like mind started to fracture, or it is all Khonshu, and his mind literally created the personalities just to deal with the damage that Khonshu was doing.
Yeah, because there was a story arc where he was able to separate from Khonshu, and when he did, he was like clear-headed.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see where Disney goes if they how do I word this? If they go the mental health route, they have a lot to work with what's going on in today's world and everything like that. I personally would rather see it because of Khonshu. I think it would make more sense with what's going on in the Marvel universe.
It would make more sense, but
you never know.
It could go either way, and I would be okay however it went, as long as they.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not watch it.
I mean, well, yeah, but as long as they kept it, I would say consistent, but it's not consistent in the comics. So
I was gonna say Moon Knight. One thing I learned about Moon Knight is he was literally one of the most inconsistent. His powers waxed and waned with like literally like his comic book character. He had powers in this story arc. He didn't have powers in this story arc. He got his knees broken in this story arc. He has healing powers in this story arc. I don't know, bro. I don't figure it out, guys. Just that's why I'm excited to see where the new Moon Knight's going, because I want to see what powers he has in the new continuity in the mainstream one right now, because he's literally been all over the place with his powers.
So, I want to see where the other one. What's his name, Mr. Oh gosh, I just forgot.
Hunter's Moon.
Hunter's Moon. Yeah.
Oh, Hunter's Moon. Yeah, he looks like a more. He looks cool, man. Yeah. He's got instead of the crescent moon on his head, he's got the full moon right here, and he's got, instead of white, he wears black.
He wears black.
Looks cool. He's actually got the armor everybody hates. He's got the gold bracers and like the Ankh and stuff that everybody hates from the Fist of Khonshu run. He's wearing, but he looks so good on it though. Oh.
It looks pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to talk about that sometime. Maybe they incorporate it.
Maybe a part two. Maybe a part two.
You'll never know. But that's all I really have for Moon Knight. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
There was a quote. Oh, there was a quote I wanted to end it on. And this is a quote from Moon Knight. He goes, "Let's establish some parameters. I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not the Punisher. They represent extreme ends of the same costume spectrum. I'm Moon Knight. And you all know that means one thing. No one in this room, including myself, knows precisely what I'm capable of. I beat the Avengers. Imagine what I could do to any one of you."
That is a great quote.
Yeah.
I love that. We should totally do a quote like that at the end of each show.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast. He's amazing. So for those of you who don't know, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch. I'll have the links to all of those, but for me, it's at KatyCandy16 on Twitter, at KatyCandy1900 on Instagram, and at Katy _ Candy on Twitch. And Droker, your socials?
Pretty much all at the _Droker across the board. You can pretty much find me except for Twitch. Twitch is actually just Droker with no underscore because somebody stole my name. So I had to use just Droker on Twitch. So
what a dro turd.
Dro turd.
That was so lame.
That's it. I'm changing my name. Changing my name to Dro turd. That's it.
So hopefully you can catch us all there. We will be doing this once a week, so make sure you let us know what topics you would like to see, what character you would like to see broken down from comic to cinema. And it doesn't have to necessarily be someone we've seen in a movie. It can be one of your favorite comic book characters. Let us know who you want us to see, who you want us to go over. We would love to hear from you. And yeah, that's all I got. Dro, anything else?
That's it, man. Thank you, guys. Hopefully this will continue to be a great time. I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun. This was amazing. This was so fun. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out. And 3, 2, 1.